Have you ever pretended everything was okay when it wasn't? Let me tell you about a time I did. A time when my world was literally going blurry. Back in 10th grade, chemistry class was my personal nightmare. Not because of the formulas, but because I couldn't even see them. From the back row, Mr. Peterson's equations on the blackboard looked like a bunch of dancing squiggles. I sat back there on purpose, hoping to become invisible. But one day, that plan failed. "Marcus, can you solve this equation?" Mr. Peterson's voice sliced through the classroom haze. My heart plummeted. I stood up, stalling, pretending to focus on the board. The numbers just swam together, a meaningless mess of white chalk on a green sea. Could you repeat the question, sir?" A few kids chuckled. Then came the stage whisper from Tyler, the school's resident jerk. "Dude can't even see the board. Probably can't afford glasses." His words hit like a punch to the gut because they were true. That was the part that stung the most. Later that night, the kitchen felt smaller than usual. Mom was watching me, her brow furrowed with concern as I held my phone just inches from my face, trying to do my homework. "Baby, are your eyes getting worse?" she asked, her voice laced with a familiar worry. I just shrugged, unable to look at her. "I'm fine, Mom. Just tired." It was a lie, and we both knew it. She was working 2 jobs, one at the diner in the morning, and another at the grocery store in the afternoon. The dark circles under her eyes were a permanent part of her now. Ever since Dad left 3 years ago, it had been just us against a mountain of bills. I'd watch her at night, juggling numbers at the kitchen table, her face a mask of concentration. It was like a high-stakes circus act where one mistake could bring everything crashing down. "Marcus, honey, if you need glasses," she started, but I cut her off. "I said I'm fine," I snapped. The instant the words left my mouth, regret flooded through me. Her face fell, and a knot of guilt tightened in my stomach. "Sorry, Mom," I mumbled. "I'm just stressed about school." She reached across the small table, her work-roughened hand squeezing mine. "We'll figure it out," she promised softly. "We always do." But I knew the truth. We were barely holding on. Just last week, I saw her adding water to the milk jug to make it last longer. I pretended not to see. So, that night, staring at my blurry reflection in the dark window, I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't ask for glasses. I wouldn't add another burden to her already heavy load. I'd just have to adapt. I'd squint harder, sit closer, memorize more. My blurry vision felt like a small price to pay compared to her struggles. It was a secret I decided to carry alone, a sacrifice I thought I had to make. This was just the beginning of my story, a story about seeing things more clearly, in more ways than one. If you've ever felt like you had to hide a part of yourself to protect someone you love, maybe you'll understand. 3 weeks later, I'd almost convinced myself I was managing just fine. Sure, I'd failed a pop quiz because I couldn't actually read the questions. And yeah, I'd walked right past my friend Jake in the hallway because, well, his face was just a flesh-colored blur. But hey, I was managing, or so I thought. Then came Tuesday night. I reached into my backpack for my English essay. You know, the one that's a whopping 20% of our grade, due tomorrow. And all I found were crumpled papers and an old granola bar wrapper. My heart just stopped. I had left it at school. In my locker. Maybe in Mr. Harrison's classroom? The panic hit me like a tidal wave. "Mom, I need to go back to school," I yelled, already grabbing my jacket. She came out of her room, wrapped in her bathrobe, looking completely exhausted. "Now? Baby, it's almost 9 o'clock. "I left my essay there," I pleaded. "The big one I've been working on all week. If I don't turn it in tomorrow, I'm going to fail." She sighed, rubbing her eyes. "Marcus, the school's locked." "There's a window near the gym that doesn't latch right," I blurted out. Jake showed me. "I'll be super quick, I promise." I could see the gears turning in her head, weighing the risks. Me breaking into school versus me failing English. Finally, a small nod. 20 minutes. You take your phone, you keep it on, and you text me every 5 minutes. Understood? "Yes, ma'am," I said, a wave of relief washing over me. The October air bit at my face as I biked through the neighborhood. The streets were nearly empty, just the occasional car passing under the glow of the streetlights. Roosevelt High looked so different at night. Bigger, more intimidating. The building loomed, a dark silhouette against the sky with only a few lights glowing in scattered windows. I found the gym window easily enough. Jake and I had discovered it last spring after staying late for track practice. I managed to wiggle through, dropping onto the mat below with a soft thud that echoed in the vast, empty gym. The hallways felt like a different world after dark. My footsteps echoed on the linoleum, and the emergency exit lights cast everything in this eerie red glow. I pulled out my phone, turning on the flashlight, and started heading toward the English wing. My shadow stretched long and strange against the lockers, dancing ahead of me. And that's when I heard it. A distant sound. Music. Faint, tinny pop music coming from somewhere deeper in the school. I froze. Was it a security guard? A teacher working late? My pulse hammered in my ears, a frantic drumbeat in the sudden, heavy silence. I wasn't alone. Who was here? And what were they doing? I had to find my essay, but now, a new, chilling question hung in the air. Should I turn back, or should I find out who else was lurking in the shadows of Roosevelt High? Stay tuned, because this is where the story takes a turn you won't see coming. I should have just grabbed my essay and left. That was the smart thing to do. The safe thing. But I didn't. Instead, I heard something. A faint melody, like a ghost of a song, drifting down the empty school halls. It pulled me in. I told myself it was probably just a radio someone had forgotten to turn off. Nothing to worry about. But a part of me, the part that always gets me into trouble, needed to know. I crept down the hallway, my footsteps echoing in the silence. I passed the math wing, the silence there almost buzzing in my ears. The music grew a little louder as I neared the freshman corridor. That's when I saw it. A sliver of light spilling out from one of the classrooms. Mrs. Robertson's room, room 107. The door was slightly ajar. My heart started to beat a little faster. Why was a light on in there so late? Against my better judgment, I pressed myself flat against the cold wall, inching closer until I could peer through the crack in the door. What I saw didn't make sense at first. There was a woman inside, her back to me. She was wearing a grey janitor's uniform and was mopping the floor with slow, steady strokes. Her hair was tied back in a simple bun, and she was swaying gently to the music, playing on a little radio perched on Mrs. Robertson's desk. Something about the way she moved felt familiar. The way she shifted her weight onto her right leg, leaning off her left hip. It was the exact same way she stood when she was washing dishes at our kitchen sink, staring out the window. My brain started to connect the dots, but my heart refused to believe it. No, it couldn't be. It was impossible. Then, the woman turned to dip her mop back into the bucket of sudsy water. The single overhead light caught her face, and in that instant, my entire world tilted and spun off its axis. It was Mom. My mom was here, in my school, at 9:30 at night. She was wearing a janitor's uniform I had never seen in my life. She looked so tired. Not just tired, but bone tired. The kind of exhaustion that settles deep into your soul. But she kept working. She kept dipping the mop, wringing it out, and swishing it across the floor. Over and over. I stumbled backward, my body acting before my mind could catch up. My shoulder hit a locker with a soft bang, a sound that seemed deafening in the quiet hallway. Mom's head snapped up, her eyes wide. "Hello?" she called out, her voice echoing. "Who's there?" I didn't answer. I just ran. I didn't think. I didn't plan. My feet pounded against the linoleum, my sneakers squeaking with every panicked step as I bolted back toward the gym. My heart felt like it was trying to beat its way out of my chest. Behind me, I could hear her voice again, more urgent this time. "Hey, you can't be here!" She didn't recognize me. When I'd gasped, she hadn't known it was her own kid. My mind was a whirlwind of confusion and hurt. I fumbled with my locker, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn the combination dial. I yanked my essay out, not even checking if I'd grabbed the right papers. All I knew was that I had to get out of there. Moments later, I was scrambling back through the gym window I'd snuck in through earlier. I landed on the damp grass outside, scrambled onto my bike, and pedaled home faster than I ever had in my life, as if a whole army of demons was chasing me. But the only demon was the truth I had just uncovered. The terrible, beautiful, heartbreaking truth. When I got home, the house was dark and empty. Of course it was. Mom wasn't there. She was still at school, mopping floors, emptying trash cans, and cleaning up after kids like Tyler. Kids who probably never once worried about whether their parents could afford a new pair of glasses. I sank onto my bed, the essay papers crinkling in my clenched fist. I pulled out my phone, my thumb hovering over our last text exchange. "You okay, baby? Almost done?" She had texted me an hour ago. "Got it. Heading home now," I'd replied. That was before I saw her, before I knew. A million questions flooded my mind. How long? How long had she been doing this? How many nights had she tucked me in, kissed my forehead, and then slipped out of the house to go clean my school? While I was sleeping peacefully in my bed, she was scrubbing toilets and mopping hallways. Saving money. For what? For us? For me? The weight of it all pressed down on me, and for the first time, I felt like I was beginning to understand the true meaning of sacrifice. Thank you so much for joining me for this part of the story. It's a heavy one, I know, but your support means the world. Sleep refused to come. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was her. Her gray uniform, the weary way she moved, that old radio playing pop songs while she worked. I could still hear her voice, sharp and worried, calling out, "Hey, you can't be here!" Little did she know, she was yelling at her own son, who was running away from her, running from the truth. Sometime around midnight, I heard the soft click of our front door. It was Mom, trying her best not to wake me. I lay frozen in bed, listening to the quiet shuffle of her footsteps in the hallway, the sound of the bathroom faucet running, and finally, the gentle closing of her bedroom door. The house fell silent again, but my mind was screaming. The next morning, it was like nothing had happened. She looked the same as she always did. Tired, yes, but still smiling. There she was, standing by the stove in her diner uniform, stirring a pot of oatmeal. "Hey, baby," she said, her voice warm. "How's that essay coming along? Did you get it done?" I couldn't look at her. Staring down at my empty bowl, I just mumbled, "Got it done. That's good, baby." She came over and kissed my forehead. Her lips were cool against my skin. "I'm proud of you. You work so hard." Her words felt like 1,000 tiny knives stabbing me in the chest. I work hard? What did I possibly know about hard work? I was the one complaining about a little homework, about needing new glasses, while she was out there working 3 jobs. 3. It hit me then with the force of a tidal wave. The diner in the morning, the grocery store in the afternoon, and then this. The janitor at my own school. School that day was a blur. It was like I was seeing the building for the first time, but through a horrifying new lens. Every hallway I walked down, I pictured her mopping the floors, her back aching. Every classroom I passed, I imagined her emptying the trash cans, her hands sore. When I walked past Mrs. Robertson's room, I felt a knot tighten in my stomach and had to look away. I couldn't even stand to look at the place where I'd found her. During lunch, I sat with Jake in our usual spot on the grass outside. He took one look at me and nudged my shoulder. "You okay, man? You look like you saw a ghost." A ghost? That's what she had looked like in that dimly lit classroom. A ghost of my mother. "Jake," I started, my voice barely a whisper. "Do you know who the night janitors are?" He shrugged, taking a big bite of his sandwich. "Nah, why? You planning a career change or something?" He chuckled, but the joke fell flat. "I'm serious," I insisted, the words feeling heavy in my mouth. "I don't know, dude. I think there are like 3 or 4 of them. Why are you so interested all of a sudden?" I wanted to tell him everything. I wanted to unload the suffocating weight that was crushing my chest, but I couldn't. Shame sealed my lips shut. It was a tangled, ugly mess of shame. Shame that my mom had to scrub floors and toilets for a living. Shame that I had run from her like a coward. And most of all, shame that I had been so blind, so wrapped up in my own trivial problems, complaining about needing glasses while she was secretly working herself to the bone just to keep us afloat. After the last bell rang, I didn't go home. I walked straight to the main office. Mrs. Chen, the school secretary, looked up from her computer, her glasses perched on her nose. "Can I help you, Marcus?" she asked kindly. "Yeah, I fumbled for the right words, my heart pounding. "I was wondering about the custodial staff, like what their schedule is." Her eyebrows shot up in surprise. "That's an odd question for a student to ask. Why do you need to know?" My mind raced, scrambling for a believable lie. "It's for a career project," I blurted out. "For social studies. We're, researching different jobs within the school system." She studied me for a long moment, a skeptical look on her face. I held my breath, sure she could see right through me. But then she turned back to her computer and typed something. "Well," she said, "we have a day shift and a night shift. The day shift is Mr. Rodriguez and Ms. Patricia. The night shift is 3 part-timers. They work from 6 to midnight, Monday through Friday." My stomach dropped. 6 to midnight. My mom's shift at the grocery store ended at 5:30. It all lined up perfectly. Do you have their names?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. "I can't give out employee information to students, sweetie," she said gently. "It's a privacy issue." Of course, it made sense. I nodded, mumbled a quick thanks, and walked out of the office. I didn't need their names. I already knew. 6 to midnight, 5 nights a week. The unbearable truth was no longer a suspicion. It was a cold, hard fact, and I had no idea what to do with it. Over the next week, I turned into a detective in my own life. I started paying attention, really paying attention, to things I'd been too lost in my own problems to notice before. Like the way my mom's hands smelled faintly of industrial cleaner when she tucked me in at night. She'd say she was just at the grocery store, but the smell didn't match. It was sharp, chemical. Then there was the uniform. I was rummaging in the back of her closet, looking for batteries, and I found it. A dull gray uniform, hidden away. The name tag read, Sandra, and there was a logo, Precision Cleaning Services. I started noticing the little things. The way she'd wince when she bent down to pick something up, her knees probably screaming after hours of mopping and scrubbing floors. My heart ached just watching her. I went to our kitchen calendar, the one where she always marked her shifts in different colored pens. Blue was for the diner, from 6 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. Red was for her shift at the grocery store, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. I always thought that was it. But now I saw the empty spaces. The evenings were just blank, no marks at all, and I realized those weren't her nights off. Those blank spaces were where her third job lived, invisible to me. The final piece of the puzzle clicked into place one afternoon. A pay stub had slipped behind her dresser. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. My stomach just dropped. Precision Cleaning Services, Roosevelt High School. My school. The pay? $12.50 an hour. I did the math right there on the floor of her room. 6 hours a night, 5 nights a week. After taxes, that was maybe $1,500 a month. She was working 18-hour days, destroying her body, sacrificing her sleep for $1,500 a month. And in that gut-wrenching moment, I knew exactly where that money was going. It wasn't for bills, or rent, or food. We were managing. This was something else. Later, I found it. She'd left her purse on the kitchen table while she was in the shower, and a little brochure had slipped out, an ad for an optical store. Complete eye exam and glasses package, starting at $200. And there, circled in faint pencil, was the $350 package. The one with the better frames, the anti-glare coating, the works. She'd been saving for my glasses. That's what this was all about. My vision, My stupid, stubborn pride that had been too big to just admit I needed help. The shame I'd been feeling, it transformed. It became something else, something heavier, and so much more painful. It was guilt. Pure, crushing guilt. I just sat there on my bedroom floor, holding that brochure, and for the first time since my dad left, I cried. I mean, I really, truly cried. Ugly, gasping sobs that I had to bury in my pillow so she wouldn't hear me from the other room. It felt like my chest was cracking open. When the tears finally stopped, my head was throbbing, but my mind was crystal clear. I knew what I had to do. There was no other choice. That night, I found her sitting at the kitchen table. The little calculator was clicking softly as she went through a pile of bills. I noticed she was wearing that old wrist brace, the one her doctor gave her for the tendinitis she got from all that mopping. Her body was literally breaking down for me. I walked over, my heart pounding in my throat. "Mom," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I need to tell you something." She looked up, and her face immediately filled with worry. That's my mom, always worried about me. "What is it, baby? What's wrong?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "I know," I said. "I know about the night job, at my school." My mom's face cycled through a dozen emotions in just 3 seconds. Shock, fear, embarrassment, and finally, a sad sort of resignation. She set her pen down carefully, as if she was buying time to find the right words. "How long have you known?" she asked quietly. "Since last Tuesday, when I went back for my essay," I said, sitting down across from her. "Mom, why didn't you tell me?" She was quiet for a long moment, staring at her rough, chemical-dried hands. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft. "You remember when your dad left? You were 12. Do you remember what you said to me that night?" I shook my head, not remembering. "You said, 'Mom, don't worry. I'll take care of us. I'll get a job.' You were 12 years old, baby, and you were trying to take care of me." Her eyes started to get shiny. "That's not your job. Being a kid, going to school, doing your homework, worrying about normal kid things. That's your job. Taking care of us is mine." "But Mom, let me finish," she said, reaching across the table to take my hand. "A few months ago, I noticed you squinting, sitting closer to the TV, holding your phone right up to your face. And I saw the shame in your eyes every time someone mentioned it. My boy, so proud, so stubborn, just like his mama, refusing to admit he needed help." A tear rolled down her cheek, and she wiped it away impatiently. "I knew you wouldn't accept money for glasses if you thought it meant we'd go without groceries. But baby, I grew up poor, really poor." The constant, daily shame of being the poor kid. "Mom, I'm sorry. No, you listen now." Her voice was firm but full of love. "I don't ever want you to feel that shame. Not if I can help it. So yes, I took a third job. Yes, I'm tired. But Marcus, when I'm mopping those floors, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about you seeing clearly. Raising your hand in class without fear. Reading the board. Looking your teachers in the eye. That's worth every aching muscle, every late night, every single moment." I was crying now too. The shame I'd been carrying felt so heavy, but hearing her words, it started to feel different. "But it's my fault you have to work so hard. If I just..." "Stop." She squeezed my hand, hard. "You are not a burden. You are my son. You're the reason I get up every morning. The reason I work hard. You're my whole world, Marcus." We sat there crying together at our cheap kitchen table. And in that moment, I realized something. I'd been so focused on my own shame about being poor that I'd completely missed the bigger picture. Being poor wasn't the real problem. Letting it steal my dignity was. And my mom, this incredible woman, had been fighting every single day to make sure I never lost mine. I took a deep breath and looked her in the eyes. "Mom, I'm going to get a job," I said firmly. "Part-time, after school. I can help." "No, but "No, baby." Her expression was unyielding. "You're going to keep your grades up because you're going to college. You're going to have opportunities I never had. That's how you help, by being the best version of yourself." That next Saturday, Mom took me to the eye doctor. With her janitor money, she bought me the $350 glasses, the ones with the cool blue frames ID pointed at in a catalog, thinking I'd never actually get them. When I put them on and walked outside, I stopped dead in my tracks. The world was clear, actually clear. I could see the individual leaves on the trees across the street. I could read street signs from blocks away. I could see my mom's face clearly. Every line around her eyes, every single eyelash, and the overwhelming pride shining right back at me. "How's it look, baby?" she asked, her voice gentle. "Mom," I said, my own voice cracking, "I can see everything." She smiled, a wide, beautiful smile that crinkled the corners of her eyes. And in that moment, I saw everything clearly for the first time in my life, not just with my new glasses, but with my heart. I saw a mother's love, a love strong enough to mop 1,000 floors without complaint. I saw a sacrifice that asked for nothing in return. I saw the kind of courage that shows up every single day, even when nobody's watching, even when nobody knows. That Monday at school, I walked into Mrs. Robertson's room with my head held high. I could see the board perfectly, every word crisp and clear. But more importantly, I could see the whole world differently. I wasn't just Marcus, the kid who couldn't see. I was Marcus, the son of a woman who would move mountains for him. That night, when I heard Mom come home around midnight, the familiar sound of her tired footsteps on the floorboards, I got up and met her in the kitchen. I'd made her some tea and left it on the table with a note. It said, "Thank you for seeing me when I couldn't see myself. I love you, Mom." In the morning, when I came down for breakfast, I found her note right next to mine. It read, "Seeing you succeed will always be the clearest vision I have. Love you more." Some kids have trust funds. Some have family connections that open every door. Some have every advantage money can buy. But I have something so much better. I have a mother who taught me that real wealth is not what you have, but what you're willing to give. And through these new glasses, looking at the world, looking at her, I can finally see just how truly rich I really am. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this moment with me. If this story touched you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. It means the world. See you next time.